in the future. So if any students are joining us now, that you can access this later. It will be recorded, and we will offer the link on our website and also probably in Angel and in Blackboard. So make sure that the time management, part of having a very balanced life academically and personally, is to make sure that students make time to log into their classes, create a schedule, and just organize important items to keep in mind.
This is Dr. Arqueta. Time management, I'd like to offer a tip to students. Especially if you're taking more than one class, it is critical that you set a realistic schedule for yourself, that you break down all of the classes that you have, and that you set aside a specific day and a time of the day. Many of you have personal responsibilities that make this quite a challenge, but you need to put it down, write it in a piece of paper, put a schedule out, but you need to plan ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Arqueta. Thank you.
Right, and I also think, sorry, this is Professor Garman, I think it's important to not to try to do your work maybe only one day a week. You do need to be logging into the class and reading the emails and the announcements, and that's all part of time management as well.
Perfect. So the next point is about taking responsibility, and I believe there's a big misconception that students think that online classes are easier than face-to-face, and that's not true. So it's important for students to know that being responsible for their own success means investing the time, being proactive, making sure you're well informed of what the policies are, what the syllabus says, and plan when and how to complete the coursework. That includes any additional software that's required, planning ahead, getting the textbooks ahead of time, and really taking charge of your own class and knowing what to do, and just keeping current.
Keeping current means reading everything. I think one mistake that students make is jumping into the course, getting very enthusiastic and eager about beginning to cover content without having read the syllabus. Usually our courses contain information on deadlines through items like a schedule of assignments. Students just get so enthusiastic, and that's something, of course, we encourage. But you need to read everything before you jump in so that you can do it right and you know exactly what's expected of you.
Right, and I think that most professors make their syllabus so detailed in order to answer any questions that students would have. And I think a lot of times if you have a question, if you look in the syllabus, the answer would be there. And if you email your professor and your professor emails you back, please look in the syllabus, you shouldn't be offended. It's because they've already done the work for you and they want you to be able to read it on your own and be independent, which is really what being a virtual college student is about.
That's a very good advice, Dr. Garman. It's unbelievable how many emails we get from students asking questions that are clearly explained in the syllabus. So start with reading that. And if you don't find an answer there, then of course contact your professors. We're real people. We're not robots, virtual professors. We're real people, and you can contact us during our office hours, and we're happy to speak with you and give you further details.
Thank you. And of course, this would actually segue right into our next slide about asking for help and seeking clarification, not being intimidated to connect with your professors. Whether we're a professor or administrator or working in the virtual college department, we want our students to succeed. We want them to stay in the courses, to do well, and we are here to help in case there's any questions. That was a great point to always refer to the syllabus first, because frequently asked questions are answered with the information in the syllabus. It's very visible from the course homepage. And that's what the advice that I usually give to students in the very beginning of the term. Know that syllabus. It's a very important document that clearly outlines the expectations of students in the course. And of course, we also know that life happens. And if there's any issues that students experience, whether it's an extenuating circumstance, whether it's a question about course content, to please connect with the professors. That's what they're there for.
Right, and to connect in a timely manner, because sometimes, as you said, things happen or technical errors happen. If you can't get into a discussion board or you can't get into a quiz or you were taking a quiz and something happened, the time to contact the professor is right then, not 3 weeks later when you see you didn't have a grade, because the professor needs to fix it as soon as they hear about it so you can retake the quiz or do the discussion board. So you want to try to get in touch with the professor as soon as something happens. Now, you also need to know that it could take 24 hours for us to get back to you, so you shouldn't freak out if a quiz, you know, if you can't get into your quiz or for some reason, because we will definitely reset it if it was a technical error. But you do want to get in touch with your professor as soon as something happens.
I agree 100% on that. Call us or send us a message. And by the way, something that we didn't mention previously is get familiar with the course. Take a look at, I know some students have taken courses in Angel and now we're moving to the Blackboard interface and it looks a little different. Angel, the menus were on top, and Blackboard, the menus are on the left. But one of the things that you really should do very early in the semester is get familiar with the structure of the course. What are the communication tools we're providing to you? Do instructors want you to use course messages in their courses? Also, take a look at where the content is, where the quizzes are located, where the discussions are. Get familiar with the course, and little by little, you'll be figuring it out.
That's a great point. Go ahead, I'm sorry, Professor Garman.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think we discussed that we really want students to look in the side menu and figure out what all of those links are and to click on everything. And the other point about how we want to be contacted, you know, most professors want you to use course messages in Blackboard. They need to keep a record of all their emails. I know sometimes students use the app on the top, and we don't even get notification of that. So you do need to make sure that you're contacting the professor in the correct way so you get a quick response.
That's a good point, Professor Garman. The app at the top is the Blackboard Social Networking app. It really is a community of Blackboard learners that can extend all over the world. It is not within the course, it is outside of the course, and we do not use that for communications. To communicate with your professors inside the course and your classmates, you have to use the course messaging or discussion boards within the actual course.
That's a great point. And each class is a little bit different. They're not identical. So I really like that you mentioned to get familiar with the course, to click on everything, to, you know, just the comfort in navigating through the course is really important to students. So thank you for that. And also, there's going to be technical assistance available. And I know that, you know, if you don't have all the system requirements, if you didn't download the correct software programs, you may have some issues that you need to address. And then we make it clear, like, for example, we tell students the best browser to use is Mozilla Firefox. So those are important things to keep in mind. Now, if students are unaware or they're having a technical issue, our help desk services are available. And if you don't have the phone number, it's 305-237-3800. And we can also be emailed at virtual@mdc.edu. And those are turned into a ticket. So basically, if you're emailing us, you're submitting a ticket to our help desk team. We also have a knowledge base that's available that answers a lot of frequently asked questions that instead of students contacting us, they can easily find the answer. So some of the things that students contact us for, technical login issues, things that their computers need in order to view all the course content, but we're here for other services as well.
One thing I'd like to mention is the system check. There is usually, inside the course, there is a feature called the system check that checks your browser for all of the things you have to have working in order to be able to successfully complete your course. It's important that students look for that and check their browsers against that. 99% of the time when students have technical problems, it's a browser issue. So I often tell my students, if it doesn't work with Firefox, try Chrome, and sometimes it'll work with that. So be sure that you get that system check done. It's important.
From the beginning of the term.
Yes.
All right, we're going to move on to the next slide, and this is the importance of active participation in the courses. And it's different than in a face-to-face classroom where you raise your hand and you're actively there physically. But in a virtual college classroom, if Professor Garman, you want to talk about active participation?
Right. And so in a virtual college class, if you're not logging in every day or every other day, you're probably going to miss out on important messages, important announcements. A lot of people post videos telling you how to do assignments. Maybe due dates change or the assignment changes, and you don't have a face-to-face professor telling you that. So you have to log in every day to be able to see what's going on. And obviously, if you don't complete all your coursework by the due dates, when you fall behind in virtual college, it's really, really difficult to catch up. And I'm sure that Dr. Roqueta can talk about this as well. You don't want to procrastinate. You do not know what's going to happen, and you don't want to be doing, if your test is due Tuesday, you don't want to be doing it Monday night. What happens if you have to work or you have a computer issue? You know, you really want to do things ahead of time and not fall behind.
That's very, very true, Professor Garman. It's incredibly important that students make every effort to keep up because once you fall behind, you're at what is past you and then work.
We can't hear you, Professor Roqueta.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a little better now. Go ahead.
Farther away from my microphone.
Yeah, the audio is not coming in too well. Okay, well, Professor Garman, can you? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can't hear Professor Roqueta.
No, I can't either. But we can just sum up by saying, you know, really you need to keep up with your assignments. You have to try to do your work on time and really log in every day so you don't miss anything.
The other point I think that's really important to mention is that a professor can drop a student from the course if they don't attend. And in virtual college, attendance, like you had said, Professor Garman, is completing the coursework by the due date. So finishing up, making sure that everything's completed. If a student goes 2 weeks without logging in and completing work, or they can log in a million times, but if they don't complete the coursework, then the professor can drop the student, and the student is still in financial obligation for that course. So it's very important for students to know from the beginning.
That is an excellent point. Professor Roqueta there? Anyway, Sophia, that's an excellent point. And sometimes, even at the beginning of a virtual college class, there are due dates, and they might send professors might send an email saying you need to log in and complete the assignments by the due date, or you will be dropped. And sometimes students don't take that seriously enough, and they do get dropped right at the beginning. And again, they do hold the financial responsibility for that.
Absolutely. So we're going to segue into avoiding procrastination, because we all know that the longer you put it off, the more work is going to pile up, and the more difficult it is to manage your course. So asking questions early, not waiting until, like you had said, Professor Garman, waiting until 2 weeks after the assignment was due and then speaking up. So if you have questions, don't wait the day before. Do it early in the week. Communicate and look at the response time that your professors have on the syllabus so that you know how far in advance you should be asking questions about assignments that are due. The other thing that I think was a great point that both professors had asked me to add to this presentation was the plan for your proctored assessment. All virtual college classes have either a proctored midterm and or a final exam. And proctored means going either to a Miami-Dade College testing center to take your exam, going to a remote testing center, or using technology-supported proctoring, and we're currently using ProctorU. This means that students need to plan which of the 2 or 3 day window they're going to select to take their exam, find out the hours if you're going to a physical location to take the test, And the other thing that's very important to remember is if you're doing ProctorU, to be able to register beforehand, pay, and plan ahead.
Right. I believe it's at 2 weeks. You're supposed to be setting up ProctorU 2 weeks in advance. Isn't that the advice that the virtual college gives? Am I correct about that?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was saying, doesn't the virtual college tell students that they should try to set up their ProctorU at least 2 weeks in advance?
Absolutely, absolutely. And also the remote proctor 2 weeks in advance, which allows us time to verify that and approve that proctor. So yes, absolutely.
Right, and one thing that you mentioned that I think is really important is to find out the hours for the proctor testing site if you're going to come on campus. They're not all the same. And for example, I know my students have had difficulty on Fridays. Maybe the testing center closes early. And if you get there, you know, after the time that you're allowed to start the test, they will not allow you to take it. And in some classes, you might be dropped from the class because you did not take the proctored exam. And the testing center hours will not be accepted as an excuse because those were posted and it was your responsibility to know them. So it's definitely really important to plan ahead on this. And another example I can give for communicating with your professor, a lot of professors don't necessarily answer email every day on the weekend, and if you email them on a Friday, you might not get a response on a Saturday or Sunday. And I know that I have my students go to a theater visit, and sometimes they want to find out if what they're going to attend is okay, meets the requirements, and they'll email me the night before on a Saturday. So maybe I'm not looking at my email on Sunday, and they'll actually miss the show because I was not able to email back. So it's important to email, you know, with really a 48-hour, 72-hour window to get a response from a professor.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention about the testing centers was to make sure that your ID or requirements are met and that you plan to bring what you need. For example, I know that even through ProctorU and most of the testing centers, at least here at Miami-Dade College, you need a government-issued ID that is not expired. And you will not have anybody approve you to take an exam without the proper identification. So it's very important to see what you need to take to the exam, and also to review what type of items are permitted for you to take. Can you have scratch paper? Are you allowed to have a calculator? So plan earlier. The other thing that's very important to mention during this webinar is encouraging students to read, and read. I cannot stress enough, we've already touched on the importance of the syllabus and to refer to it during the term, during many different times, if you have any questions about the course. Looking at technology requirements, and also not to hesitate to contact your instructor. Keep up on those messages. If there is a course announcement, read it, look at it. I also send email blasts to all students in virtual college that talks about academic resources that are available, things to keep in mind, registration opening up, getting started successfully in the term. So those are things that, you know, students would really benefit if they just take the time, not only read through the course, but review all of the information that is being sent out from virtual college and from your professors.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hey, sorry, this is a big expensive headset and it was failing me. I wanted to mention that if you do sign up for ProctorU, that's the technology supported proctoring, you still have an appointment. And students that miss those appointments miss out on the opportunity to take their exam. And with many courses, the exam is worth a great part of your grade, so you cannot afford to miss that exam. So if you make an appointment, you have to keep it with technology supported proctoring through ProctorU.
Right. In some classes, you may be dropped if you miss the proctored exam. So
yes.
It's worth more than just a percentage of your grade in some classes. I think for this slide, when we're talking about read, and the grading policies, you really want to know things like, is there a makeup policy or a makeup week? Some professors offer that. Will I be able to make up work? Is there extra credit available? And also, are you allowed to miss assignments? Some professors allow that, some professors don't. And so this is, when you're looking at the grading, you don't want to just look at what percentage you need to get an A, but also what are the other policies that I need to meet.
That's true. Very good point.
Incredibly important that you do make yourself familiar with those policies. One thing, it's incredibly important at the end of the semester that you keep up with your deadlines. The instructors can be flexible or a little bit more flexible during the earlier parts of the term, but at the end of the semester, the due dates are absolutes. You really need to complete your final exam by the deadline. It's essential that you do so. So don't allow yourself to fall behind at the end. It can be fatal.
That's great. And I know also in a typical face-to-face classroom, students participate by raising their hand, asking questions verbally, but virtual college courses require students to read a lot more. So this type of communication is very important for students, and just getting familiar with, knowing the course, knowing where to go for any announcements, notifications, messages, and also checking their Miami-Dade College email as well.
That's a really good advice. It's essential that you read everything in online courses. It's our way of communicating with you. And a lot of students who come to us now from the school system are used to being told what to do every single day. In online courses, you have to read what to do. So reading is critical. It's the most important thing you can do in your course to be successful, is read everything and follow the instructions. Most of our instructors provide copious instructions, lots of instructions. So be sure that you read the instructions carefully.
And along with reading is writing and participating in discussion forums, emailing classmates, emailing the professor. That is how we communicate in an online course. It is asynchronous. So most courses in virtual college do not require you to log in at a specific time, but it is participating through written communication and being very careful of what you write, because like the slide says, you can't take it back. Once it's out there, it's out there. And we do, within the orientation, have a very short video about etiquette and how to communicate with others, and not to use all caps, for example, because it seems it could be a little rude or loud in the way that you're communicating. Just being mindful and just really becoming part of this wonderful learning community of online learners.
Something I wanted to mention is this is an online course and you are submitting work for a grade. It is incredibly important that you present your work in the best possible way. It is not a text message. It is not an instant message communication with friends. You have to use proper typing rules. Your pronouns have to be capitalized. Your pronoun I has always got to be capitalized. And no LOLs. Those are a lot of fun in text messaging, but they're not appropriate in online courses. You are submitting work for a grade, so it be as professional and as well written as you can, and always spell checked.
Right. I can't agree. I could not agree enough. I definitely, and also, not just on your papers, but your discussion board postings. I think that students think that the discussion board postings is like as if you were having a face-to-face discussion, but it's really not. You do have to use standard grammar and punctuation, and you can look on your professor's rubrics. A lot of time you will be marked down if you don't use the standard grammar and punctuation. It is expected of you. And I just want to mention about being polite. I know that sometimes students get upset about a grade, or they get upset because their quiz is messed up in some technical way, and they will shoot off an email without thinking. We've all done it. But you definitely have to remember that there's a human being on the other end of that email, and you can really hurt someone's feelings or anger your professor, and that's the last thing you want to do in a college class. So you want to be polite with both your professor and all of your classmates on the discussion board. You really don't want to be rude to somebody and hurt someone's feelings.
And on a positive note, I want to mention something. There's a misconception in online courses that it's not a strong community of learners as it is in a typical classroom on a campus, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. I teach psychology courses, and the discussions create a rich learning environment. Students sometimes get closer in online courses and make friends better in an online course than they do in a face-to-face course. So it is a wonderful environment, and a lot of students make friendships that last beyond the actual class.
That's great. That's great to know. And it's a great way to connect to other people who maybe have the same, a lot of similarities in their reasons for taking online classes. So thank you. An important point that I think students need to know about is knowing their resources. What is available for you? What types of assistance, help, what tools do you need through the semester? Be informed. And one of the things that I really want our students to begin using and to continue to use is the free online tutoring. We cover the cost for our virtual college students to be able to use smart thinking tutoring, in which they can connect with a tutor, make an appointment, they can communicate through a virtual whiteboard. They can also turn in an essay or an assignment to have it critiqued. And this is important for any class. The misconception is this is only for English classes. No. I'm sure in humanities and in psychology courses that one of your or a couple assignments require students to do a lot of writing. And it would always be to the benefit to the student to turn in that work to a tutor, have it reviewed, improve on it, and then hand it in. But that also requires them to work ahead of time to be able to do this.
Where would they go to get the free online tutoring?
Well, I sent an email out to all students a couple weeks ago about how to access the tutoring for Angel users and for Blackboard users.
Excellent.
So the Blackboard users would go to Course Tools, which is on the left-hand column, and click on Other Tools, and it's alphabetically. You'll see Smart Thinking Tutoring, disable the pop-up blocker, and you have tons of resources available to you. You can also, like I said, make an appointment, look at the resources. There are many, many options available, and you can also look at discipline-specific information for the tutoring to see the resources first, and then if you feel you needed to make an appointment, you can do that. It's for math, it's for English, it's for business courses. There's just a variety of help that is available there. And also, be familiar with Miami-Dade College's Student Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. Being informed is really going to help you out. I had mentioned before that some of our students experience, difficult things in their life. Well, what can you do? Who do you reach out to? If you're having problems with a course, or you have an issue in life and you feel like, I need to reach out to my professors or the administration at Miami-Dade College to see what's possible at this point. Well, there's a wealth of information available in that handbook that would really benefit students.
I would like to add that it's important that if you have any issue that you contact your professor first. This is the first connection that you have to make with regard to any issue. If you can't get any satisfaction at that point, then of course you can move on to other sources of support. But your instructor is your first line of support with any issue that you have in a virtual college course.
Right, and your professor might know which resources to send you to, because we do have a wealth of resources on each campus. Each campus is different, and your professor will know which resources you need and be able to guide you through how to find those resources.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And our last point is that MDC cares. Miami-Dade College wants you to do well in your classes, academically, professionally, personally. We want to work with you. So many students, I think, go through hurdles and they're just intimidated to ask questions, to see what's available, and not ask for help. But we are here to serve students, and our help desk does that. I know, Professor Raqueta, you said that the faculty are there to help, and if you are experiencing issues, we encourage that. And many times students call us and say, this is what I'm going through, this is really tough. And my first question is, have you talked to your professor? Well, no, because I'm afraid that this, that, and the other. Well, no, that's their job. You guys are teaching because you really appreciate and you know, working with students. So just reach out, and also to show appreciation for those that have helped you.
Very true.
Very true. I think that all the professors at Miami, they do care about students. They do want to hear from their students. And the more they hear from the students, the more likely that they can help. I mean, you know, so it's really important for the students to ask questions and to let us know what the situations are.
Yes, communicate. That we can't tell you that enough. It's really, really important that you stay in touch throughout the entire semester. One last thing I would like to share. It's been my experience in 15 years teaching online courses, that these courses are a wonderful opportunity for our busiest students so that they can continue to make progress on their careers. And a lot of times we have students who have small children who need to stay home, and online courses offer them the opportunity to continue to make progress on their educational goals. So it's a wonderful opportunity for students. We want you to do this. We want you to be successful in it. And anything that we can do to help you, we will do. The online community, the faculty are great people, and we do this because we love it. And reach out to us in any way that we can. We will help you, and we want you to succeed.
Thank you. And in conclusion, I wanted to offer my information and also encourage students to contact the Student Help Desk if there's any general questions that you have. If you were considering an online class and maybe want to discover if this is a right fit for you, we're here to answer your questions. We're here to help you. We want you to be part and continue to be part of the online community of learners, and we really appreciate all of you being here. I want to send a huge thank you to Professors Garman and Raqueta for being part of this webinar. This is also recorded, so we will make this presentation accessible to students that weren't able to join us, or if you did join us and you think this would be great for your classmates to hear because there's valuable information, then please share it with them as well. Did you ladies want to add anything to the end?
No, we just want to thank you, Sophia, for setting this up. And Dr. Raqueta?
It's been a pleasure. I hope you guys enjoy being an online student. I'm confident that you will, and I think all of the tips that we provided today will help you to be more successful. I hope you listen all the way through and read everything in the presentation, and contact us if you need help. We're here for you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the work that you do to students and also to you two professors. And we hope that we can continue more webinars in the future. And if we do, please check your emails. I can send out a link with this and email it blast as well. So thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.